Hello friends. This session is about what is Docker, why Docker, and what problem it solved. So let's first start with what is Docker. Docker is not any programming language or framework for building software. It is just one software that you can install on any operating systems like Windows, Linux, or Mac. It will help you in resolving common industry problems like installing, updating, removing, managing, and distributing software. Docker accomplished this using technology called container. Let's understand the Docker definition in detail. Let me tell you the problem which I faced when I was installing software in Linux. I have started the installation of software and immediately got the error. When I troubleshoot, it shows me that, to install this software you need to install Python version 3, and at moment in my system installed version is 2.7. But here the problem is I cannot remove Python version 2.7, as some other software which is installed in my system requires that. I am sure many times it happens with you, like some software in your system requires Java version 7, and some other software requires Java version 8, and the problem is you can set default version 1 only. Now for a moment consider I don't want to run the software in my system which is using Python 2.7, so I have removed it, and finally decided to upgrade Python version to 3.0. After doing all this, when I was installing software, I got some library-related problems. So after all troubleshooting and problem resolution it took more than 1 hour for me to install it. In Windows also, when you install some software, it takes hours for you, as mostly you get DLL files related issues. Same way consider, if you have installed a particular version of software in your system, and now you have a requirement to upgrade it. So you mostly get the same challenges which you got in installation. And what if the upgraded version is not working properly, and you have to revert it back? It takes again hours of time. Now consider, what if I have to install or upgrade the same software in more than 50 systems, or in different environments, like development, QA and production? Here your effort will be 3 times, as for each environment you need to do a fresh setup. So these are all the problems which we are facing in our day-to-day routine life. But Docker has resolved this problem. Consider, you have installed the software in one container which is in development environment. As discussed before, the container is a virtual machine in Docker, so if you set it up in one environment, just create the image of that container, and using that image, you can easily deploy the same container in other environments, like QA and production. Now how it is possible, that part we will see practically in our upcoming session. But at the moment, we will focus mainly on Docker advantages. Containers are not virtualization. Before we started using Docker, businesses typically used hardware-level virtualization, which is also known as a virtual machine to provide isolation. Let's understand the architecture difference between virtualization and Docker with one scenario. Consider you have 3 different applications which you want to deploy on virtual machine, as well as in Docker, so how this happens in both cases? In case of virtualization, you have an infrastructure, means hardware, and on top of that you need to install a virtualization OS, which is called hypervisor. For example, you need to install ESXi in case of VMware, Hyper-V in case of Microsoft, KVM for Red Hat and Citrix OS for Dell. After the installation completes, hypervisor allows multiple VMs to run on a single machine. Here we have set up 3 virtual machines. Each VM includes a full copy of an operating system, the application, necessary binaries and libraries. As VM installed a full copy of OS, it is taking up hard disk in GBs. While in the case of Docker, on top of hardware you need to install the host operating system, like Linux, Mac or Windows. Once it is done, you can install Docker on it, like you install other software in your system. And on top of Docker we can create the container. Here we have created 3 containers and each container is having different application. Each container shares the host OS kernel, so you do not need to install a complete OS, and due to this reason containers are very lightweight. As complete OS is not installed in case of containers, it used very less memory, CPU and hard disk. You can say hard disk space in MBs only. Till now we have discussed what is Docker, and how it is different from virtualization. Now let's discuss what other problem Docker does solve. First, What if I want to install 3 different applications in my system which are using different versions of Java? Consider, I want to install 3 different applications in my system, and each application requires a different version of Java. For example, Application 1 needs Java 6, Application 2 requires Java 7, and same way Application 3 requires Java 8. So it is difficult for me to set up each application in the same system. As default I can set only one version of Java. So in that case I need to install 3 VMs, but it takes lots of disk space, memory and CPU as it installs a full version of the OS, so the host system becomes slow. But if I use Docker container, then we can achieve this, as each container is created in separate user space. Even containers are very lightweight, so it does not affect the performance of the system. Now assume you are having requirements to upgrade each and every application to some other version. Consider you have upgraded all the applications, and it is not working as expected, so you have to downgrade it. Downgrade a version will generally take more time, but in the case of containers, you can do it in seconds only, and that is also without any issue. We will explore this part in practical. Improving portability. You have developed one application for Linux, but your customer is having demand to develop the same application for Windows and Mac platform, as they are not using Linux. Many times it is not so easy to create and maintain the same application for Windows and Mac, and due to that you are not getting new customers. But with Docker installation on Windows and Mac OS, you can easily set up the same application in other platform without any headache. So the application which is created for one platform can work on another platform. We can say here, the application is portable. Shipping containers. Now to understand this, let's begin our discussion with GitHub, which is a code hosting platform for version control. Using GitHub, you can share your code, files and documents with any person who is sitting remotely, and you do not require softwares like FTP. Even you can create the different versions of your code while uploading to GitHub. Same way in the case of Docker, we have Docker Hub, which is used to share the container images with the person who is sitting anywhere in the world. Here also we can create the versions of the image, so if the upgraded version is not working properly, we can downgrade it by downloading the previous version of image. Container image, you can say, it contains a set of instructions for creating a container that can run on the Docker platform. It provides a convenient way to package up applications and pre-configured server environments, which you can use for your own private use or share publicly with other Docker users. We will discuss more on it once we start the practical part. So after all the discussion, we came to this conclusion that Docker is very lightweight. As all containers share base OS, so it is using very less disk space, memory, and CPU compared to VM. Docker system boot time is hardly in seconds, while VM takes a few minutes to boot. As it is lightweight and the average size of containers is much smaller than VMs, the server can host more containers, and this helps in software delivery efficiently. Even we can manage multiple applications in a single system, which is using different dependencies, like app 1 requires Java 6 and other app requires Java 7 or Java 8. Using Docker, we can easily install, upgrade and remove applications in multiple systems or in multiple environments. Docker is portable, so no platform dependencies. Application, which is created for one OS, can be deployed on another OS just by creating a container. You can easily ship the container with the person sitting anywhere in the world by using Docker Hub registries. Due to all these advantages, all minor and major industries, having staff of either 1 to 10 people or having staff of 10,000 people, nowadays adopt container-based technology. According to a Gartner report, by 2023, more than 70% of global organizations will be running more than 2 containerized applications in production, up from less than 20% in 2019. 451 Research says containers are beginning to replace virtual machines already. It is expected that the $1.5 billion container market will grow to nearly $3 billion in 2020. According to a Forbes article by Janakiram MSV, container adoption is growing rapidly, much faster and beyond expectations. So this is the high-level overview of Docker. Things will be more clear once we are moved to the practical part and understand how Docker is working. Gradually, we will share more videos of Docker to help you understanding the concept. Friends, you can subscribe to our channel if you want to be updated about each and every video. If you do appreciate the content I bring, please like and share my channel. It would be great if you can share your feedback about the video by using the comment section. As we want to create the content which you are interested in, so in comment you can update us on which topics you want us to bring the videos. We will definitely try to work on it. Your appreciation is my reward. Thank you.